Everton's 9th loss of the season. Now, Everton have now won just one of their last 10 Premier League matches. If results go against them today, they could drop into the bottom three. They're just tinkering above it at the moment. They are out of the relegation zone on goal difference alone. Brighton scored 3 goals in 6 minutes in the second half, which saw Everton absolutely crumble. Some of those goals were lovely. Some of those goals were really poorly defended. Now the loss piles a lot of pressure on Frank Lampard. When you've got a player like Frank Lampard, who was in his prime just for what felt like an eternity, and such a leader in so many different ways, and would set standards for the rest of the club to be held to. I suppose as a manager, when you see performances like he did last night, it's probably very hard not to say things like that. There's a lot going on at Everton at the moment, and you do fear for Frank Lampard. What would you say is the core problem there at the moment?
I think if you speak to Everton fans, they'll moan about the ownership, lack of investment, but over the years they've spent a lot of money, Everton. Not recently, of course. That squad need a lot of investment in it, a lot of new players. But how can a team go to the Etihad and put in a defensive masterclass, everyone's fighting for the team, and then a few days later go and be so poor defensively against Brighton? It's easy to go to the Etihad when you're not expected to get a result. The lovely stadium, you're playing against world-class players.
Is that why? Because
that's what it is, less pressure, and everyone can dig in, and you're not expecting anything. When the pressure's on is at home. When you play in the Premier League, in any division, the pressure is home games when your fans expect. This game was a perfect chance for these players to bring in that form from the Etihad, Manchester City, and go and pull it on Brighton's toes. No, they didn't. They crumbled. Shocking defending, from every single goal. The first goal, one ball, crossfield ball, ends up with a winger cutting inside and having a shot from the penalty spot. Just poor defending, and Frank Lampard would be looking at it, shaking his head of he probably thought before the game, we'll go and beat Brighton. We'll take that form for the Man City game and we'll go and give Brighton a really good game. And the players just crumbled. All the goals, poor defending. The last one from Idrissa Gueye, just so poor. And less talk about Frank Lampard for me, and more talk on these players who down tools yesterday.
On the 18th of September, Everton had the second best defensive record in the league, and yes, that's early doors, but they conceded 6 goals in 7 matches. They've now conceded 19 goals in 8 matches in all competitions.
It's a bit scary because we were talking at the start of the season about Cody, Tarkowski, how good they've looked. Yeah, but the left back for me, Milienko, you've got Patterson, Coleman, they've not been up to standard as well. But to lose 4-1 at home, for me, is a crisis. And it's January now, Laura. The transfer window's open. They're in big danger, Everton, because you look at it and you're thinking Southampton, Forest, Bournemouth, but it doesn't always go down like that. That them three are going to go down. Teams like Everton and West Ham, they don't get their act together. They could easily be in a crisis of going down. And Frank Lampard will know he needs investment, but I think he's been told he hasn't. He's brought Sims back from Sunderland, who was on loan. He's been told probably, you've got no money to spend. So I don't see the point in them talking about sacking Lampard. Who are you going to give the job to? Who's going to do a better job with them group of players?
I'd love to hear from Everton fans, because there's one that is getting in touch this morning. I don't have a name, Agent 461, and he says the fans are behind Lampard. It's the board that is rotten. Please, please, please address it, Laura. So I would love to hear more from Everton fans on where you think the issues lie. Is it coming from the top down? Is it the board? If it is the board, why is it the board? What's going on? Is it the investment? Is it because the problems in the past have been a continual failure in the transfer market and spending big money on players that aren't working.
But still, though, you look at that's the starting team. You've got Calvert-Lewin, Dwight McNeil, who's a talented player, Damari Gray, Tarkowski, Cody, Pickford. They've got a good team on paper. That starting 11 is not a bad team, Laura, and they've gone to the Etihad. They've showed what they can do, and they're all committed. They're all playing together and fighting. They had some decent chances in that game. Then to go at home and put in a performance like that in front of your fans, Lampard's probably scratching his head in the office after the game, like, what team's going to turn up?
That would be my biggest frustration as well, knowing what my team can do one week and doing it against one of the best teams in the world.
Exactly, yeah.
And then having a performance like that. That defeat was Lampard's 19th in 36 league matches in charge of Everton. So he's won 4 games in all competitions this year.
Yeah.
Wow, is that right? Wait, when you say this year, do you mean this season? Because this year is only 4 days old. In which case, if he's won 4 games in all competitions this year, that's quite a good record, really.
He needs help, though. And you look at the problem with Anthony Gordon. Since Chelsea are interested, you've not heard from Gordon. He scored 1 or 2 goals in that time. Like, he's been in and out of the team with Lampard. Something's going on there, maybe with a new contract.